So if someone was to say to me, you shouldn't be a nurse because you have narcolepsy, or you shouldn't be in the medical field because you have narcolepsy, my response would be, why?
Hello, my name is Andrea Sutphin.
My name is Qualkenbush.
Well, my name's Annie Embertson.
I am living with
Narcolepsy with
cataplexy. I will be graduating in December of this year.
Currently not working because of an injury.
Most recently, I started working in a surgical ICU this March, which was right before the global pandemic.
With everything going on in the world right now, if anything, it's made me want to become a nurse more.
Friends of mine that I grew up with, they said, you were born a nurse. As a child, that was my dream. So I get into nursing school, and after struggling through all school and find out that I have this, it wasn't like something that was thrown in my face like, oh, you have narcolepsy. It's like, well, what do you do about narcolepsy?
I was exhibiting like the excessive daytime sleepiness symptoms, which I contributed to just being in nursing school. But then I also had the muscle weakness related to laughter.
I was standing up and opened my eyes and became aware that my chemistry teacher was in my face yelling at me because I had fallen asleep with a bottle of supersaturated hydrochloric acid in my hand.
I initially enrolled into the nursing program because I felt guilty about wanting to become a doctor and become a surgeon.
I was thankful that I did live in a dorm because I could rely on my classmates to make sure I was awake and studying.
Finally was really getting suspicious about my muscle weakness, and one of my friends is a physician assistant, and she actually called it out. She's like, that's cataplexy.
With my cataplexy, it's pretty sensitive. I was actually in lab doing a dissection in anatomy and physiology, and someone said something that I thought was funny, and I jerked and ended up cutting myself and then cutting through what I was supposed to be preserving. After, really thinking about how drastically the cataplexy affects me, I felt that it was selfish of me to have that dream.
There were definitely times when I was not sure I should be doing my current job.
I think back when I was diagnosed with narcolepsy, I probably got a different sense of what it was all about because we didn't have all the studies. It wasn't a whole lot to read about then. And so it was like, okay, I have this sleeping disorder, and now I have these medications and I can make it through it. To me, that allowed me to continue. Now I have a tool to help me accomplish what I need to do.
I actually started looking into meditating.
I definitely did some therapy, which I highly recommend. It is a major life change, and I didn't realize that.
I've essentially gotten to the point where I have a pretty good control over my emotional and physical responses to most things. My psychology professor actually compared it to a constant state of meditating. Between that and the medication, I have a pretty good control over my cataplexy.
I'm stubborn, and I also I really wanted to challenge myself. I think when I told my friends and colleagues that I wanted to work in an ICU, they all thought I was crazy.
At the start of my career, the only thing in my mind was to be a nurse.
My first sleep neurologist said that being a nurse is probably one of the best professions for someone with narcolepsy because you're just on your feet all the time.
My biggest question originally was just, how do you do it?
One, I just make sure I get a full night's sleep.
I prefer to work nights so that I could sleep all day.
Taking my meds, on time. Some of these things seem normal, but sometimes you have days where you don't, you hardly go to the bathroom, you hardly drink any water. And I've been trying to prioritize myself more. By taking care of myself, I can take care of others.
When I do apply for a job, then I have to have these certain hours, and it's just that way. That's my life.
Keeping like a proper sleep schedule and, healthy lifestyle and my medication, I can pretty much keep the excessive sleepiness to non-existent as long as I'm moving around constantly, which is an upside of being a nurse. School hasn't been the greatest with accommodating. My professors, they're great. I mean, it's one of the benefits of having nurses, ex-nurses as professors.
I kept my narcolepsy from just about everywhere that I worked. I'm one of these people that, I want to portray the best state of health that I can all the time.
It's one of those situations where I feel like if I want a job in a hospital, I'm going to have to accept the job and then tell them after the fact. If I was to meet a nurse that currently has narcolepsy, I would ask, how did you ask for your accommodations?
If I were to talk to my younger self, I would have told myself to get a law degree, because I just learning about American Disability Act, learning what, accommodations are and what I'm entitled to and how to fight for them. I do have an accommodation to take a 20-minute break. I have to be honest though, I'm not very good at taking that. I'm going on my third nursing job. Each time it gets a little bit easier. I guess I feel I don't need to tell someone how to feel. Like if they're having a bad day, I just kind of listen and be like, yeah, this sucks.
When I see people that do have chronic things going on, like ADHD and ADD, I try and tell them, I have to be on something for the rest of my life in order for you to be able to deal with other people and all the emotions and everything around you. You have to take this medication, every day. And it's not that there's something wrong with you or whatever. We're just different. We're built differently. We're wired differently.
I don't remember at all in my nursing school having ever heard of narcolepsy. The average years to diagnosis is like 8 to 10 years. I've heard 8 to 15. It's a long time not to know what the heck is going on with your body.
Even interacting with, the doctors, the specialists, it's how it affects an individual is not really 100% understood. Narcolepsy is almost like a spectrum, and it's a huge misunderstanding even in the medical field about how drastically it can affect someone.
I feel like it's really important for those with narcolepsy in the medical profession to speak up, because not a lot of people know about it.
If you want to become a nurse, you need to right away decide what field you want to be in. Know yourself. Know when your best time of the day is. Plan your career around that.
If you have that passion, then we definitely want you. We don't want people who don't want to be a nurse. They don't make good nurses.
You have to get something that's definitely going to be interesting. If you're in something that's mundane and it's going to make you go to sleep.
I would say someone who has narcolepsy who's thinking about going to school, it's going to be hard.
Have the best relationship you can with your medication.
We need people of all shapes and sizes and with all types of diagnoses in the medical field to try to humanize it.
My whole life I've been fighting to prove everybody wrong. My mom committed suicide. My dad told me that I wouldn't graduate from high school. And narcolepsy was just another speed bump in the road.
To me, it's just another something in life that we've been dealt.
I look at it as I've been able to fight my way through everything else. I can fight my way through this too.
And do the best we can to make it work the best it can for us.
I can do everything that you can do. I just have to do it in a different way. And just because my way is different doesn't make it wrong.
I mean, I would say like 5 years ago, Annie may have looked at narcolepsy as a weakness, something to be hidden. I'm slowly switching gears and seeing it more as a strength and something to be open about.
Just knowing that there's other people out there, that other people do it, is a huge comfort.